Hello and welcome. This is my presentation on Effective and Ineffective Responses to Disruption by Damian Grant. For this case study project, we needed to choose one classroom behavior and provide two ineffective responses to a specific type of disruption and two effective responses to the same disruption. My choice of disruption is when one student yells at another student. This is the case scenario. You have just finished a run on a piece in choir, and Jeremy blurts out, "You keep missing that same rest," at Tim, which then turns red in the face and responds with, "I do not. I did everything right and I aligned with the sopranos." Jeremy responds, "I don't care, dweeb. I know you did it wrong, and you're bringing us down." The rest of the class looks at you to see who is right. Now, with these videos of this scenario, the wording isn't exactly the same. Now, to our first scenario.
Man, you keep messing up with that rest every single time.
I did not. I'm aligned with the sopranos, and I did it right.
Settle down, you two. Okay, everyone, let's move on to page 81.
Okay, so the main problem that happened here is that the teacher moved on without dealing with the problem. Of course, the teacher could circle back to it later, but without the students being set up or told that they need to stay after class or that they need to have a conversation with the teacher, there's not really a good time or sequence in which this conversation can take place. Also, without anyone being told that what they have done in this situation is wrong, this kind of debilitates the respect amongst different students, because the same situation could happen again between the same students, or other students could see that the students that have already caused the disruption didn't get in trouble, and they could do the same thing if they find that other students are also messing up on their music, which overall could really harm the feel of the culture in the classroom. Now, to the next scenario.
Man. You keep missing that rest every single time.
I did not. I'm aligned with the other sopranos. I didn't do anything wrong.
Both of you shut up. You both did it wrong anyways. Okay, everyone, let's go on to the next section.
Okay, so this one is much easier to see as problematic. You never really want to call out your students so directly, especially with such strong language. It isn't a very good way to build respect and rapport with your students, and some of them could truly be affected strongly by the choice of words that you say to them. Also, just as the last scenario, there wasn't any time that the problem was truly dealt with. It was still kind of just skipped over. So the students could start to call out one another once again, as there's no real sense of respect for one another in the class. Now to the next scenario.
Man. You keep missing that same rest over and over again.
I did not. I'm aligned with the sopranos. I did everything right.
Stop it, you two. This is not how we show respect for one another. Take a breath and remember, we're working for the same goal.
With this scenario, the situation is at least resolved a bit to where the students won't necessarily get too, more energized about the situation than they really need to be. Also, the term respect is actually used here. So the students can realize that what they might have said could be very disrespectful to the other student. Even though they have a good point, if a student is wrong, there's a right and a wrong way to bring up how someone has done something wrong. And the main goal is what matters overall. So if someone gives up or is hurt in the situation that you're trying to still help them, it hurts the overall goal that you're all striving for. as the culture should be to work together for something greater than yourselves. At least that's how I see it in this class. Next scenario.
You keep missing that same verse over and over.
No, I didn't. I did it right. I was aligned with The Sopranos.
Hey, you two, this type of disruption is unacceptable. Please stay after class so that we can have a little talk. For now, let's move on.
This I find to be one of the better responses overall, because the main problem is dealt with as they're told this is not how you're supposed to respond to someone, even if you find what they're doing is wrong. Also, there is a later date in which the problem can truly be delved into and really dealt with, such as the students being told to stay after class. And the idea of respect is represented as the students know that this isn't how you need to respond to someone, but there could be a better way, and this goes for all the students in the class, helping to build a good sense of culture and respect overall. So, what I have learned from this entire experience is that trying your best to build good rapport with your students, as even though you have to give certain consequences or be firm with your students, it doesn't mean that you need to debilitate the respect that you have for them and the rapport between you and your students. Also, dealing with situations needs to be rather immediate. However, the way that you go about it doesn't have to mean that you stop everything and you directly deal with it. However, just mentioning that the situation can be dealt with in depth at a later time is enough to kind of build some form of resolve, making sure that nothing greater comes out of the situation in a negative way. Also, making sure that the culture of the class is upheld is something that really needs to be focused on at all times, no matter in a bad time or in a good time. Making sure that everyone knows to respect each other is extremely important in the classroom, and also when the students are ready to go out into the real world. Thank you for listening to this video, and I hope that you also learned some things about effective and ineffective ways to deal with disruption in your class.